live Q&A today at 2 p.m. Now, you might be wondering why I am wearing sunglasses inside. Well, it's because I'm a rock star. About today. So, yeah, I'm going to come to why I'm wearing the shades. I am. Just want everyone to join so that I can start. So hello to everyone on YouTube. Hello to everybody who's joining me live on Instagram live today. Obviously, I'm here to help you guys with dealing with any kind of issues that are coming up around your breakup, your divorce during lockdown. And yes, too cool, Nadine. Yes, I'm wearing shades inside, and I know I am not a rock star, but I'm going to show you why. Okay. Just as any of you wearing sunglasses at the moment, maybe you're sunbathing outside, maybe you're out walking, you know, are you wearing your sunglasses? Because if you are, please let me know. I would like to know. But there's a big point of what we're going to talk today about, because I've had quite a few emails over this week, and especially yesterday, I had a client who was asking me about things, and I wanted to bring up this and make a point, because hello Polly Bloom, hello Nadine, hello Hayley, hello everybody, Chirpy Cheek. Oh, I like that name. That's good. And Yusuf and everyone that I can see on board. Tanya, hello. Hello to those of you on YouTube too. So, okay, let's get started. So why am I wearing sunglasses? Well, I wanted to show you how we all filter the world in different ways. So by wearing sunglasses, these provide obviously a different shade to what I'm seeing. Now, when we're with other people, often we get upset. Going through a breakup, we see things differently to our ex. For example, I've got a client at the moment who's really struggling with how her ex is seeing things. Now, he's not a nasty person. He's a nice guy. They've got on really well. It's an amicable split, but she's really struggling with how he sees things differently around sort of what their plans are about, how they stay in touch, how they communicate, how they move forward. So she's seeing the world through her lenses. We all do. So what lenses do you wear? So for example, if you're wearing sunglasses, like I am, inside, okay, it's going to give you quite a dark perspective. Whereas if you take them off, you're going to see the world in a different way, okay? So it filters how you see the world. We all have filters on how we see the world, okay? And that's my point. We all have filters. We all see the world in different ways. So what filters do you put on to see the world? Or what filters is your ex using to see the world? Because we all have different maps of the world. And I know we've touched on this in the past. I'm going to take these off now because I think I made my point. We all have ways, we all have different maps of the world. So your map of the world will be only your map of the world. No one else has exactly the same map of the world. So what do I mean by map of the world? What I mean is the way that you see the world. So this is made up of your beliefs, your values, your personality, your strategies for coping with difficult situations, your way of making friends, all the different behaviors that you have that make you you. That forms your map of the world. And it can be highly influenced by your parents, for example. So, for example, Goldie Hawn, for example, she's a very famous actress. She's very likable. She's very outgoing. She's very vivacious. And her daughter is very similar to her. I don't know if you've seen her daughter, Kate Hudson, in films and movies. When they're interviewed, they talk a lot. And she often talks about her mother's influence on her life. Now, this is, all of us have strong role models and influences. And obviously, growing up as Goldie Hawn's daughter, that's going to have an impact, right? They're quite a strong impact. And so what I want you to have a think about is who has made up your map of the world. Because, hi, Gary. So lots of people will have formed that. So it might be a teacher at school. It might be your mom or your dad. It might be you're brought up with a particular religious view or a cultural dynamic. Or there might be maybe somebody in your life came along and had a big influence, or there might be one big traumatic event or life experience that changed you. For example, I know I went to live off, I studied French and business at university, which meant I went off to university in the south of France. Pretty cool. And, the people I met out there in that year was a really significant turning point for me in my life and changed me in many ways. There were also, who changed you? Did you do anything? Was there any experience you had? And if you're live on any of these chats with me, please do drop it in the chat and let me know if there's anything that influenced you in your life that maybe changed your opinions and views. I know somebody that I was working with the other day had a really open-minded teacher, and who had very different views to her parents and her upbringing. And that person really opened my client's eyes to a different way of thinking, that things didn't always have to conform to a certain way. So who is it and what is it that shaped your map of the world? Because it's really interesting to look at that and then go, okay, well, this is what I've grown up with. And as I said before, our beliefs are formed before the age of 7. By the time we get to the age of 7, like, our beliefs are pretty much there. It's not to say you can't change them, but the majority rule says that our beliefs and values are in place by the age of 7. And then after that, we look for evidence to back up and support these beliefs. So, hi Thought Health, thanks for joining. So what I would say is, with that, if you've got your beliefs and you're building those beliefs and searching for evidence after that, then we don't always sense check whether these are the best beliefs or behavior patterns or strategies for solving conflict or making friends or communicating with other people that work for us. So we don't usually test them out. And then these belief systems we have, these values, become our filters for the way that we see the world. So maybe you've got a pair of glasses like this, or maybe they're a small pair of glasses, or maybe they're like orange. What are your filters that you put on the world based on who we are? Because somebody with your background and your experience won't have the same pair of glasses. They won't have the same filters. They'll be seeing the world through a different point of view. So, for example, I've got a friend that was put into foster care when she was 3. Now, the way she sees parenting is very different to somebody that's never gone through that experience. She has a different view of parenting and what it means, and the risks and her values around it are very different to somebody that's never been through that. So I want you to think about what your map of the world has taught you and how you filter that. Because if, first of all, you can see it for you, it puts you in an empowered state to see, I can see why I'm doing these things. And it also gives you the ability to reflect a bit and think, well, am I doing this just because I was hurt as a child, for example, through a difficult experience? Or am I doing it because I think it's the right thing now with the way I am now? And so learned behaviors are something that we repeat and we repeat and we repeat, but may not best serve us. Do you see what I mean? So, for example, if you grew up, I've got another client who grew up with an alcoholic mother, and the way that she deals with her troubles is to drink, because that's what she saw her mum do. So she thought that was the way to do it. You might have heard about spiders. Children are not born scared of spiders. That fear of spiders, and you can usually trace it back to one specific moment where there may be a baby, they're crawling across the rug, suddenly comes across the biggest, hairiest spider. And what does mum do, or dad do, or the nanny or friend or whatever do? Spider! What does the child learn in that instant? Instantly, what? Spiders, fear, screaming, scream, scream, fear, scared. You see, linked. That is a conscious thing that happens, and that's how sometimes those fears, those phobias are formed. If your parent was scared of going in lifts, got another client whose parent was scared of ever going in a lift, would always make them go up the stairs, even with the pram. She can remember because there was a lift, and she would never go up in the lift. So she has this sort of physical jolting that she kind of experiences in her head from going up all those endless stairways, because her mum was scared of lifts and they lived on the 3rd floor in a block of flats. So, there's so many different associations that we make as we're growing up. Rightly, wrongly, maybe they're positive ones and empowering ones. Great. If so, we want to know what they are and do more of them, right? But if they're disempowering ones, if they're ones that we've learned by default, by mistake, we just picked it up because, Granny was terrified of spiders and a spider or a mouse. One of the ladies I used to work with, she's amazing, Amy. She was my PA for a long time, and she was absolutely terrified of mice. And when I lived in London in our flat, she had mice. And sometimes we'd be sitting there and they'd run across the floor in like twos. So I thought they were really cute. I grew up in a household where we had gerbils and mice and all those things. That was normal. Hi, Tracy. But you know, when, but for Amy, they were horrific. She would literally do what they did in Tom and Jerry, and stand on a chair and start screaming. I'm like, why are you standing on a chair? They're long gone, you know. And just go, but I don't know. This is what you do when you see a mouse. You stand on a chair and start screaming. But when I questioned her on it, we talked about it, she laughed. She said, I don't know why I do that. I don't know. That's what I see them, my map of the world, my filters, the way I see things. I see them as cute. Yeah, rats, that's a different thing. Why do I think of rats as that? Because when I was living in France, I was walking home one night and I was in a back alley and it was full of rats. And then from that day on, not a good association. Big, hairy rats. And it was dark and it was scary. So for me, I probably didn't have much of an association until then, but that wired me in a certain way. Now, if you're consciously aware of it, you can break those. You can unwire yourself. You can disconnect yourself from that. And that's where the power is of, number one, identifying what it is. You can then look at yourself and say, okay, well, why am I reacting in certain ways? Why, for example, do I attract similar partners into my life that end up in a certain way? Or why, even when I attract someone that is a great partner for me, do I maybe sabotage it? Now, I've got an email today about someone who's sabotaging relationships, but when she looks back on it, she has an underlying belief that everyone will leave her. Where does that come from? Well, if you trace it back, then her mum left when she was very young. So she has if you get too close to someone, they'll leave you. So what happens is she protects herself from that and carries on. And then ultimately, when she gets too close to somebody, she thinks, oh, okay, I know what happens next. They're going to leave me, because that's her learned experience. That's the way she sees the world. When you're very young with a sponge, you take these things on and they tend to stick like super glue. So, you know, she's got that filter on, like if you get too close to someone, they can leave you, and that is ultimate pain. So never get too close to someone. Let them in, but at a certain point you push them away. Do you see? Now that's something she's learned and she's repeated, because it's her body's way of protecting her on an unconscious level, because those wires have been connected in that way. So what we have to do is disconnect them and reconnect them in a slightly different way that keeps her safe still. But of course, there's no magic wand to take away the risk of any pain and heartbreak, guys. Unfortunately, there isn't. You can follow certain things. You can put your safety nets in, as with my design your ideal partner exercise, and making sure that your values are aligned and not conflicting. But actually, you know, it doesn't take away all the risks. But what you can do is you can consciously be aware of it. Go, I know what I'm doing. I'm sabotaging my relationship here because I know deep down I have a belief that ultimately they will leave me. Now, there's different ways you can disconnect that. You can have open communication with that person to say, this is what I'm doing. So consciously, how do we get around it? You can come for coaching. You can go and see therapists. There's lots of ways you can unpick that. Or you can simply just become more aware that that is how you see the world. And that when it actually starts happening, I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to change my behavior. Now, how do you change behavior? You can't stop something, remember, without replacing it with something else. So if you want to stop doing it, or you want to dial down doing it so much, we need to then put in some other behaviors that you can do going to help. So what would help you in that situation not sabotage a relationship? Or maybe you can put in some steps that way, maybe you say, right, I know what I'm doing and I need to take a step back. I need to think and focus on all the things this person does that shows me that I can trust them and they won't leave me. I can focus on, you know, all the things we're doing together in the future that mean that they're going to be around. Or, you know, you can have a communication with them, say, what could you do to reassure me, because I'm having my little thing going on here that I'm consciously aware of. Now, you may not 100% ever trust anyone, because how could you? You know, I know that when most of us walked down the aisle, we thought it was going to be forever. Some of our partners may not have been so signed up to it, I know that, but actually for us, if we believe that, no one could have told you it wouldn't work out, because that's what you believed at the time. So, you know, there is no guarantee, but you can set it up so that you're prepared and that you can cope with things if they do rock your boat, and spot the signs way in advance and try and do something about it to help either increase the chances of success or reduce the chances of you getting really badly hurt. So 10 times 11 says, my daughters picked up my ex-wife's fears. These include dogs, escalators, and spiders. They also thought they were allergic to pineapples and kiwi. I've unpicked them all. Well done. Okay, maybe not the spiders so much. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I was very scared of spiders. My mom is very scared of spiders. Well, she was, or she still is now in her 70s. She's still scared of spiders. And I sort of grew up around them, which is where I most probably picked that up from. But when you're a single parent, guess what? There's nobody coming around to pick up your spiders or to throw them outside for you. So you've got to find a way to deal with it. So actually, even though I still thought spiders were very nice, still had my filter on to see them that way, what I've done is I've gone, okay, I still don't particularly love them, especially the hairy fat ones. I just, even the legs, not my favorite thing. However, I found a way around it. Thanks to Anthea Turner on Good Morning Britain one day, you had this sort of Hoover type thing with a sucker thing, you press the button and you put it over the spider, it sucks it up, and then you can take it outside and drop it away from the house somewhere. So that was a way that I found to cope with it, because I needed to find a coping strategy. And actually just doing that enough times, you just kind of think, okay, I can handle this. And once you've done it once, then you know you can do it again. You just need that evidence to knock that belief out that these are scary things. Is it realistic, again, realistic, to set your expectation that you're going to not feel any fear when you see a spider or a dog or an escalator or whatever it is? No. Okay, no, we don't. To aim for perfection is just totally unrealistic. So you'll come in here and then this will be disappointment. This will be the reality. If I see a spider, I'm actually really scared. So look, that didn't work. No. What we need to do is say, I expect that I'm still going to feel a bit nervous, but how do I get around it? Given the fact that I see the world this way, I'm going to change my behavior and do something a little bit different. So whether it is I'm going to force myself to, or I'm going to watch some videos about dogs being really cute or something to change that. Just dial it down a little bit so that you can manage it better. Okay? So, but being aware of and you're seeing things differently, which you will. So your ex might be the one seeing things in a very different way, and you'll think, well, that's weird. They're being weird. Like she's totally irrational. She's being very, very difficult. And it might be that they are. However, they will have a different filter on the world. Everybody does. It's like Friends, when you're sat watching, maybe you're talking about a TV show that was on the other day, or what someone was wearing, and you go, oh my goodness, did you see what she was wearing? And they go, well, I thought it was awesome. Like, what are you mad? It's different points of view based on different life experiences and all the things we've talked about that make up your map of the world. So if you can apply this knowledge to your ex's behavior as well, it does help to dial down some of that intensity of those disagreements, when you can go, I know why they see it like that. The risk here, though, for those of you who are highly empathetic, and I know there's a lot of you following me who are highly empathetic people, which is why you might get yourself, you're more likely to get yourself into a slightly abusive relationship or to be taken advantage of, because you don't want to rock the boat, you're a pacifier and you want to make things better, you want everyone to get on, you'll suck it up yourself so that no one else has to see the upset. It's kind of enabling behavior for people to treat you that well, because you just kind of smooth over it, almost as if it doesn't upset you, which it does. So you're burying that. But that's, in some ways, being an empath is a very lovely quality to have, because you're big-hearted, you're warm-hearted, and you're kind and compassionate, and you put other people's feelings first. Yes, Tracy says she can relate to this. Yeah. So ultimately, it's not a bad thing, but we have to have strong boundaries, and that is the ultimate thing if you are an empath or highly empathetic. You have to know what is acceptable behavior and how you want other people to treat you, and you have to be able to have the confidence to stick to that. And if people around you are not respecting those values and boundaries, then you walk away. That's your deployed parachute mode that takes you up and out. Yeah, it's just not worth your time and your energy. And if you have to be around people that don't respect your values or your boundaries, then, for example, it might be work, or there might be a specific family member that you have to see from time to time, then it's about zipping up your Teflon suit and knowing in advance, so you don't share very much information. You keep it all on a very sort of superficial level. Although it's friendly, you can be amicable, you can be genuine, but you're using that part of you that doesn't really share or give too much information. Again, as an empath, you're probably prone to oversharing. You're probably prone to wearing your heart on your sleeve. But around those people that don't respect your boundaries, that is an absolute no-go area. You do not overshare. You do not tell your story. You do not comment on personal issues. You do not comment on any of those things. One of the things you do, however, is you learn the skill of asking a question about them. That is the fastest, best way to get somebody to be distracted and talk about something else. Take the focus off you and wanting to know information about you. Ask them a question about them. It's most people's favourite topic, to be honest. So they'll be off on one talking about that. And it's an easy way for you to deflect from having to overshare or anything like that. So it's a good technique to use if you feel nervous and you feel under pressure. Ask them a question about themselves, and then they can be off. And you can stay yourself protected. But having your Teflon suit, which is almost like, if you imagine a suit made of, and the most highest resistant protective material that's sort of light and comfortable to wear, and it covers your whole body, and you can zip it all the way up so that you can only receive good stuff, kind things, but you can give out good as well. But nothing bad can come in and actually go in and hurt you. Okay, just water off a duck's back. These are techniques that if you sort of visualize zipping it up before you go. My friend, the barefoot doctor, taught me about having a bright white light around you, almost like an egg shape that sort of shines and radiates out, and that you physically zip it up around you, zip like that. He said, you've got to do it physically, Sarah, because that makes it more real for you. So when you're starting out and you're going into a situation you feel nervous, just like that, just so you can just visualize it zipping up, whether it's a Teflon suit, whether it's a bright white light, whatever it is that's protecting you. But if you physically do it, it actually does make a bit more of an intense difference to you. So I used to do that on the tube sometimes. I was going to work and zip it up, knowing that my boss wasn't always the nicest. And actually it worked. I mean, no one really knew what I was doing. No one pays any attention anyway, do they really? But I was just do that in my head. On Baton Island, there's people doing much more crazy things than that. But obviously, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel safe. But remembering that if you can see your own beliefs, the way that you filter the world, right? How you see the world, it's not just us, it's not just you that's doing it, it's everybody. So when we know what works for us and what doesn't, that really puts you in an empowering position when you can look at your own beliefs and values and your own map of the world, go, sure, that's why I keep doing this. I keep going to drink this every night because that's what I learned from my mum, from my clients I was telling you about earlier with the alcoholic mother. That was the behavior she learned. Now, she knew it wasn't very positive. Of course, she knew that her mum had a lot of issues from it, health issues and things like that. But that wasn't enough because it was a learned behavior. So it was just something she would automatically go to until she started to question it, until she started to say, look, I need to break this down. What's going on? So now, obviously, you can't stop something without replacing it with something else. You don't want that to then be smoking, taking drugs, or, eating crisps. You want to give yourself something more positive to be able to do with your time. And that can take time because, when you're, like we said yesterday, you've got a record, you've got the grooves, you're used to doing something in a certain way. To shift out of that, it's going to take a bit of time. It's also going to take you being kind to yourself and going, you know what? I'm going to be kind and good to myself. I'm not going to beat myself up because I didn't do it this time around. The fact that you didn't do it is a massive step forward from where you were before you even knew it was something you did. So you see how it's about empowering you to see what's going on in here, to really dig deep and understand what makes you tick, what drives you. All those things are really, really important to put you back in the driving seat during a breakup. And to also dial down conflict with your ex. If it is possible to dial it down by just understanding what I call shoe shifting into their shoes. So you sit there, and it's a really powerful technique I do with my clients when they come to see me here in my clinic, where I'll say, right, tell me the situation. If there's something particular that they're not agreeing on. For example, there was a lovely client of mine, Louise, who came to me, and her son was going to, he needed a desk. He was going into sixth form. He needed a desk so he could do his homework in his bedroom. And the ex-husband said he was going to buy the desk. So the mother found the desk that would go very well with her furnishings and everything. That was important to her. Sent the dad the link. So a couple of weeks later, the desk arrives. She unpacks it. Completely different desk, completely different size, completely different color. And when she asked the dad about it, he said, oh, they didn't have it in stock. So my girlfriend, the one that he'd had the affair with, chose it. So Louise obviously was very upset about this and she found it very difficult. So we did this exercise. She sat and she told the group on one of my breakup recovery retreats about the story from her perspective. Okay. And then I got her to stand up, shake it off, and then sit back down in a different chair, but this time with the filter on of her ex-husband. So she had to become him. So when she hit the chair, she became him. And she had to argue it from his perspective. So she was saying, well, she sent me the link and I went on it, but I didn't look at it straight away. So I didn't look at it for a week. And then I thought, oh gosh, and then it was out of stock. And I was like, oh my gosh, now she's going to be even more mad at me. So then I thought, what can I do? And I thought, well, I don't know anything about desks or design, but my girlfriend does. So maybe she can help find something that's going to go. So I asked her and she chose something she thought was really good. So I just ordered it because I thought, okay, I've just got to get it done now because I'm going to be in trouble. And that's what happened. So yeah, I should have apologized. I should have said something, but I just thought I'd fix it rather than put it back to her and give her more trouble because I know she's upset enough with everything that's going on. I just wanted to fix it for her. And then she stood back up again and she was like, oh my goodness, wow. So do you see how just by shifting into his shoes, suddenly she saw it from a different perspective? Now that doesn't mean that suddenly she knew she was wrong and he was right. No. But what it does is it dials down that conflict because you can truly, if you jump into someone else's body, mind, map of the world, belief system, filters, you can get a very different perspective and insight into why they might feel that way. So this exercise is a very powerful one, but you have to play full out. You can't sit there as if, well, I think he would say, or I think she would do. Yeah, no, you have to literally kind of shake yourself and just get into character, which for some of you will be difficult because you don't get on with your exes and that's really hard. But I want you to try it. And you can try it with any situation. I wouldn't try it with something like a deep-seated trauma or anything like that. Something that's just a disagreement or an area of conflict that isn't too heavy, you know, so that you can try and see both sides. Now, the skill of that is that it helps you maybe find a solution or a way that you can appeal to them to understand it, or it just makes you feel better, okay? Because it dials down that intensity and maybe you can go, oh, do you know what? I'm not going to worry about this anymore. But the challenge, I guess, for empaths is that the challenge from that is that you will do that and then excuse bad behavior, and that's not what this is about. I want to be really clear. This is not a way of excusing people from doing nasty things, manipulative things, and you sucking it up and going, okay, that's okay, I get why they're doing this. That's not for that. It's really a tool for helping you with disagreements. You can use it with work colleagues. You can use it if you're going through a breakup when it's a bit tricky, you know, those sort of things. So just bear that in mind, but it's a really powerful tool that can really help you put you back in the driving seat and feel more empowered, just understanding. So now every time you put your sunglasses on, you can remember they're your filters to the world. And what are your filters? And have a think about that. I think it's really important. So I hope that's really helped you, Sarah. I really do. I hope it has. It's been great seeing you all on, and thank you so much. Do drop me your questions. Monday's bank holiday, so I think I'm actually on a long bike ride at 2 o'clock on Monday, so I don't think I'm going to be able to join on Monday. But do, if you need me to reach out, drop me a DM. I'll be back on Tuesday with lots of information to help you cope with your breakups, with your divorce, lockdown, any of those things. So please do put them up, and I really look forward to seeing you then. Big hugs, mwah, everybody, and stay safe. Bye.